Circle stock CRCL has obviously erupted since its New York Stock Exchange debut on June 5th. It's up 674% in 10 trading days, starting at $31 per share, and it's now valued at over $3.4 billion. Despite Circle only raised $446 million in the IPO. So this hype marks Wall Street's first major embrace of a stablecoin native company. Now, we had an interesting take on this whole Circle IPO from billionaire venture capitalist Chamath, and he said he slammed the IPO as a $3 billion giveaway to banks' favorite clients. And he argued that the stock was grossly mispriced. And then he used that as a way to praise the idea of SPACs.
Special purpose acquisition companies.
So he used this to praise the idea of SPACs and direct listings, which Coinbase, by the way, was a direct listing. And he's saying that way of going to market, getting to the public markets is actually more transparent and equitable. That's his argument. And so he's also saying that basically the people at Circle, the employees, the founders are kind of getting ripped off here. And a large amount of the money that was made in this raise actually just goes to like random people, especially like the insiders of the banks who went on their roadshow to bring it to the IPO.
Important thing to note here is Chamath is pretty famous for making a lot of his money on SPACs and the COVID helicopter money era. And I think a majority of his SPACs went down 70 to 80% from their listings. So a lot of people not happy with Chamath from his SPAC shenanigans back then. And so for him to then come out and say SPACs would have solved this is a bit of a troll.
It's a bit rich.
It's but he does, I think, have a point though, which is, or at least something interesting to talk about, which is, did Circle, the company, leave a lot of money on the table by doing a proper IPO? Would it have been better for them to have gotten more money of that $3 billion, or is what they got enough? So again, it's I kind of understand what he's saying, right? Like for this to go up 600% in such a short time does seem to me like either the market's really frothy or it was grossly mispriced.
Yeah, well, I think it's a combination of both for sure, because it's pretty obvious that there is huge appetite for something in crypto relating to stablecoins, and there aren't that many options on the table right now. Circle is the most obvious option, and investors wanted exposure to that, and they're getting it through Circle.
Yeah.
One other point here, I think, which is, as we discussed on Token Narratives on Friday, this is sort of a more indication or vindication of the new narrative that TradFi is where the big gains are right now in crypto. Altcoins are down bad. They just keep getting hammered lower and lower. Meanwhile, you're seeing stocks like Circle pump 6-7x, and many other stocks that have like crypto treasury company stocks, Bitcoin treasury company stocks, all pumping like shitcoins basically, while the original shitcoins are just bleeding out day after day, week after week.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Now, this next story is kind of about what happens next, right? So Circle comes out, it does a 600% increase in like under a month. Obviously, this is going to bring about some copycats, right? People are going to want to follow this same narrative and run it into the ground. Arthur Hayes, the famous co-founder of BitMEX and prognosticator of the Bitcoin price, he has warned that the next wave of stablecoin listings will be quote unquote Circle copycats, and they will not pump nearly as much as Circle has. He asserts that such copycats will never eclipse Circle, the number 2 stablecoin issuer, after Tether in revenue generation. That, to me, is to be TBD, right? He does warn this. He does make these warnings, though, with a bit of a compromise himself. His family office has investments in Athena, which is a stablecoin issuer rival to Circle, and it kind of makes sense for him to think that this Athena DeFi-ish way of doing things might be better than this corporate treasury TradFi, I don't know, Frankenstein thing will work.
So that's his angle.
Maybe, right? There's a couple things here, though. The first one is he's kind of saying something that I think I disagree with, which is these stablecoin issuers that come up after Circle will never do as much revenue generation as Circle, which means that Circle, he's basically saying that Circle has a moat, that they're not going to be kind of chiseled away. Their market share is not going to be chiseled away. I mean, at least that's how I read that. I don't agree with that. I think that Circle is very vulnerable, as we've said before on this show and others, to the likes of traditional finance powerhouses like, I don't know, Merrill Lynch or Consortium, as you said last week, coming together to issue a stablecoin.
Yeah, it seems like it doesn't take much for whatever network effects USDC has right now to just be eroded by someone else who has better distribution, aka a bank. And because it's crypto, the switching fee costs are trivial. It's easy if you just move from Circle to some other stable coin. So I don't see a huge moat here for Circle. And then on top of that, as we know, Circle doesn't have nearly the revenue to profit ratio of Tether. So a large percentage of the revenue that Circle generates, they lose that to their operating costs, which are a combination of their really high salaries that they pay their people and the deals that they have with Coinbase and market makers and so on. So Circle is just not highly profitable, and the network effects are questionable. So yeah, I agree with your take that they are susceptible to disruption.
I do think his initial point probably is right, though. A copycat is just not going to, usually it doesn't get the same kind of boost the second time around, So Circle's done 600% in, was it 10 trading days?
10 trading days, yeah.
That's wild, man. That's wild. I think you'd have to not expect the next copycat, especially a low quality copycat, to do as well.